This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we discussed few areas. Okay, we started off with understanding the difference between HANA, S/4HANA, and Fiori, and we understood HANA is nothing but a database which is actually responsible to store the data in the background. S/4HANA is an application which only runs on HANA database. Okay, so whatever transactions you would be able to do whenever you are using SAP to create a purchase order, to create a sales order, okay, to create an invoice, to see the reports. So whatever different transactions you'll be doing, that is nothing but part of the application. Okay, and then Fiori is a new user interface. Okay, so the way in which you will be able to process the transactions in SAP system, there is a new user interface which is provided by SAP in S/4HANA, which will allow you to use the new screens to perform your transactions. So in our next session, next Saturday, most probably, we will be discussing Fiori in detail. I'll be showing you how exactly Fiori screens looks like, how to do some basic transactions using Fiori. That is something that we will see in our next session. So you will get a complete idea of Fiori also. Then we understood, we always say HANA is faster. If you even go to Google and write what is HANA, you will get this answer. It is a high performance software which allows you, high performance database which allows you to perform the transactions and your reports faster. But why exactly that is faster? What exactly SAP has done in order to make HANA faster? So we understood HANA is nothing but the in-memory computing database, which means instead of storing the data in the old way in which the data is stored in the hard disk, HANA is capable of storing the data in RAM in addition to hard disk. So we are not saying hard disk is not required, but we are saying that in addition to the hard disk, we will create a copy of data directly in RAM, which will allow us faster reporting. There is some background noise. I'm muting all of you as of now. If you have any questions, you can just unmute and ask your question. Okay, and then second point that we discussed was column-based data storage. Okay, so I told you normally when we see a table, for us it is the table. Table is nothing but the combination of rows and columns. But internally in the binary form, zeros and ones, how the data is stored, that is something which is completely technical. But what was happening previously is all the other databases, they were storing the data in the form of row-based. Okay, and there are some challenges in row-based. For example, row-based data cannot be compressed. Okay, number one. And also, it has been proved that column-based data storage has faster reporting. And that is the reason SAP S/4HANA or SAP HANA database, to be more specific, SAP HANA database allows the data to be stored in rows as well as columns. So most of the SAP standard tables, they are storing the data in the column-based form now, due to which the data is getting stored in the compressed form and we are able to perform our report faster. Then multi-core processors, which means SAP HANA uses the latest technology which is available in the market. So there are some certified hardware vendors who are providing the hardware required for implementing HANA. Also, in multi-core processor itself, maybe I missed the one line which is relevant to HANA, is called as parallel processing. Okay, what is parallel processing? So just think about this example. If you are a person and you got 10 different activities to do. Now, obviously, if you do one activity at a time, it will take more time. But if you are able to perform parallel activities, if you can do parallel activities at the same time, you'll be able to save the time. Right? Same way, HANA is using parallel processing because HANA is having the new dimensional hardware. HANA is also using column-based data storage. It is in memory. That is the reason HANA is capable of performing multiple things at the same time. So think about this. There are hundreds of users who are trying to book the railway ticket. And if the server is taking one request at a time, it will definitely take time to book the 100 tickets. But if my server is capable to get all those 100 tickets and work parallelly, then what will happen is the tickets will be booked faster. Same way in SAP also, let's say there are 10 different users who are trying to do some transaction. One user is creating a purchase order, second user is creating a sales order, third user is making the payment. So what happens normally is if our database is slow, server will take one request at a time. So it will first create a purchase order. Once that is created, then it will go to the sales order, and once that is created, it will go to the payment. But if the parallel processing is in place, what will happen is all these three tasks would be done in parallel. So HANA uses parallel processing. So multiple activities or multiple users can perform business transactions at the same time. Okay, so this is obviously common. I'm not saying that this was not possible in ECC, but the thing is, it was taking a lot of time in the background because system was creating locks. So this is technical, so I'm just writing one liner. Otherwise, if you read this line, you will feel like, oh, SAP, is this a big thing that multiple users are working at the same time? This is not a big thing, but big thing is without creating the locks. What exactly are locks? So although multiple users can work at the same time today also, but what happens is in the background, system creates a lock so that till the time the first activity is not completed, system will not take the second activity. But now what will happen is because multiple users can work parallelly without creating the locks, system will be able to perform the business transactions. Okay, so ultimately, what is the benefit of parallel processing? You are achieving your transaction processing, your reporting in a faster time rather than waiting for locks to be released and then you'll be able to do the transaction. Now you can do multiple transactions at the same time. And obviously we discussed it is having a powerful calculation engine. So if I want to perform my reports related to totals, if I want to count, if I want to take an average of some data, this will be happening within milliseconds. Okay, so that is something why SAP HANA is faster compared to the traditional databases. Also, we discussed that when you deploy SAP S/4HANA, SAP provides you three options. To be frank, two options. Third one is a combination of both. So there are two options which are provided by SAP. So if you go to SAP, let's assume you are a customer. Okay, you have your own company, and now you decided that I want to implement SAP. So if you go to SAP, I want to implement SAP. What SAP will tell you is, okay, what would you like to buy? You want to buy the S/4HANA on-premise license or you want to buy S/4HANA cloud license? Now, what would be your question? You will ask SAP, can you tell me what are the benefits and drawbacks of both? So SAP will tell you if you go for on-premise, you have to bear the hardware cost, okay, but it will give you the complete control. You can decide when you want to do the maintenance, you can decide when you want to have the downtime, you can decide when you want to upgrade. So it is completely your system, you decide what you want to do. Even you can write your custom processes also. On the other hand, if you don't want to buy the hardware, you can go for cloud option, in which we will be providing you SAP S/4HANA on cloud licenses on the subscription basis. Good thing is you don't need to waste any time to buy the hardware, because anyways, if you want to buy the hardware, it takes months. It is not like I went to the market and bought the hardware. Hardware also takes a lot of time to come in the companies. So if you want to save that time, if you want to avoid hiring the team of consultants who will be working on maintenance of hardware, so if you want to save all that cost, you can go for cloud. Okay, but the drawback is it is not the server not belongs to you. Server belongs to SAP. So you are not the owner of that software and hardware. You are just using it on the subscription basis. If any maintenance, any upgrade, you don't have any control on that. And even you cannot create your own custom processes. So these are the drawbacks and advantages of both, based on which you will take a decision that whether I should go for on-premise or I should go for on-cloud. Okay, so these are the two options, just remember, and then I give you one combination. So some products you are using on-premise, for example, S/4HANA on-premise along with Ariba, Hybris, SuccessFactors. In that case, it is called as the hybrid combination. Okay, and then we discussed different types of projects that you'll be working in SAP. So you'll be working in the implementation projects, support, rollout, development, upgradation, and system conversion. So throughout this course, we will be discussing all these projects. We will be discussing whenever we are talking about a particular functionality, we will discuss during the implementation related to this functionality, what work is involved. If you are working in the support project, what kind of incidents, what kind of tickets you will be getting whenever you will be working on this functionality. Okay, so I hope you got this point. And what we can do now is, if you have any questions till now, just go ahead with the questions. Otherwise, we will start a very interesting topic today, which is SAP SF methodology. I will first introduce SAP SF methodology, and then I will compare that SAP SF methodology with the new methodology which is available in S/4HANA called as SAP Activate. As I told you, this is a favorite topic when it comes to the interviews for the freshers, for the beginners. If you are a beginner, definitely you will be asked this question during the interviews.
Hello, Vikram.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when you say it will not lock when we are trying to process anything in HANA, so two users can perform a same sales order at a time.
See, when we say without creating the locks, this means the if a user is trying to update the sales order, let's assume see, there is some background noise. Can you just mute me, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. See, let's assume you are changing a sales order, okay? And the same sales order I want to change. In that case, system will definitely create a lock, because if the system will not create a lock, it will create inconsistency. So I'm not talking about that lock, Akshay. What lock I am talking about is what happens normally. Let's say you are working on the sales order and I want to update another sales order. But the problem is, because you are already doing something and system is already consuming some space in the database, system will lock my user activity till the time your transaction is not completed. So once your transaction will complete, then only system would be free to process my transaction. So there are two kinds of lock. What I'm talking about is the lock which is related to parallel processing, but the lock which is related to the object. For example, the same sales order should not be updated by 2% at the same time. Otherwise, it will create an inconsistency. I can give you a very good example. Let's say you have 50,000 amount in your bank account. And now on one side, you have opened the bank website. On the other side, you have opened the mobile app for that same bank. Now, from both, from website also and from mobile device also, you are trying to send this 50,000 to another bank account. So if the lock doesn't exist, what will happen? The amount 50,000 would be total 1 lakh would be transferred to the another bank account, which is a big problem. This is called as inconsistency. If I have only 50,000, so even if I use 3, 4, 5 devices, it should not allow me to send more than 50,000. Otherwise, it is a big inconsistency. So in order to avoid that, what happens is, if you are already doing a transaction from one device, system normally locks the other transaction to be carried out, which is definitely required. So that lock will remain. But let's assume the 100 users are working on the same banking application. I am doing one transaction. So what happens is, when I am doing transaction, system will ask 99s to wait. Okay, and once my transaction is completed, then only the 99th person will come, the 98% will come. Ultimately, it will start doing the activity one by one. So that creates a slowness in the system. So that slowness is not there in SAP HANA, because it can perform parallel request at the same time.
Okay.
Understood, right? So you are getting confused with the lock. That lock is definitely required. If someone is making the change in a particular application, that lock is definitely required. Otherwise, it will unnecessarily create a inconsistency.
I have one question, sir.
Yes, Akshay.
In the memory computing feature, there is data duplication is carried out due to RAM and ROM.
Sorry, Akshay, your voice is little bit slow. Can you come again?
In memory computing feature, is there
Uh-huh.
is data duplication is carried out.
Data replication, duplication.
Duplication, right?
Yes. There will be some duplication because you are storing the same data in RAM also and same data in hard disk also. But the benefit is because the data is directly available in RAM, although this is duplicate data, good thing is you don't need to unnecessarily go to ROM again and again because this traveling time. So you are processing your transaction, you are asking RAM to do something. RAM is saying, I don't have the data, I need to go to RAM, I need to pick the data, and then my transaction will be processed. So that time can be reduced. There is definitely the duplication, but this duplication is for the benefit.
Vikram, I have a
Yes.
question. You mentioned the locking. That's correct. What I agree with GUI, right? But in Fury, is that the same case? Or because it's a
There is
OData service call, only, right? How
no.
will it lock the people in the back?
Okay. See, Raj, irrespective of whether you are using Fiori or you are using the GUI, ultimately the OData service is also calling the ABAP objects in the background. So ABAP objects are common in the background. So whatever
Yeah.
BAPI bodies are used for old
Yes.
GUI, same BAPIs and bodies would be used even if you use Fiori also. So that is common.
Yes.
What is common.
Okay. Yeah, agreed. But then I'm doing a read first and then do a update next, right? So if two users are using a sales order update, it will go in the sequential queuing, right? Say, for example, one person updates first and the second update goes next, it will go, I think, or maybe I'm just asking.
You are saying the same object, same sales order you want to update two persons, right?
Yeah, because my understanding is it two reads. So two OData call will read and two users are going to do an update. In that scenario, the update, say user one updates first, there will be no lock because the user one will first update. Simultaneously, it can never happen in the Fury, I think. So the object the NQDQ lock shouldn't happen technically, but I am just asking, is it will happen or no? Because technically it shouldn't happen, right?
You are okay. See, Raj, the thing is,
Yeah.
we're talking about the scenario in which you are updating the same sales orders from two different user IDs. Let's say
Yes.
I am also trying to update the same sales order. You are also trying to update the same sales. In this
Yeah.
particular case, when I open the Fiori application and if I go to change sales order, if I'm already in change sales order application and if I'm already changing that particular sales order, system will even not allow you to go to change sales order screen, even from Fiori also.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Okay. I was thinking it will allow. Okay.
Yeah, same behavior as GUI. So even GUI also, if I'm already changing a particular sales order, and if you try to change the same sales order, you will get an error that this sales order is locked by another user. So till the time I don't save that transaction or I don't come out of that screen, till that time system will not allow you to go to that screen at all.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about project methodology. Okay, or you can call it as the implementation methodology. What exactly is implementation methodology? See, whenever you are going to implement SAP, okay, SAP ECC or SAP S4HANA or SAP R3, whatever different products SAP has, if you want to go for the implementation, SAP recommends to follow the methodology, which means you should know what exactly I should do first, what should I do next, how can I verify that all the activities in my projects have been completed. So SAP provides you the list of all those activities that you need to carry out in order to complete your implementation project. So when we were using SAP R3, when we were using SAP ECC, so SAP was recommending us to use SAP ASAP methodology, SAP ASAP. Okay, what exactly it stands for? It is nothing but accelerated SAP. What do you mean by accelerated SAP? It itself means accelerated means what? Accelerate means speed. So if you want to implement SAP and if you want to accelerate the process of implementing SAP, you don't want to unnecessarily waste time on non-productive activities. So use this accelerated SAP methodology, which will help you in implementing your SAP faster. Okay, so SAP SF methodology was recommended for implementing SAP R3 and SAP ECC projects. So is the recommended methodology. Now, after SAP S/4HANA came into the picture, starting from 2015 onwards, SAP recommends SAP Activate. So for SAP S/4HANA projects, whenever you are implementing SAP S/4HANA, the recommended methodology from SAP is SAP Activate. Okay, so this is important to understand what exactly is SF and how Activate is better. Obviously, SAP's Activate is better. That is the reason SAP came up with the new methodology. Otherwise, SAP could have told you follow SAP SF itself in S/4HANA. So when they came up with the new methodology, definitely there will be some benefits over SAP SF methodology. So we need to understand the difference between these two. And at the end of the session today, you should be very clear with the answers. What is SF methodology? What are the phases in SF methodology? What exactly you do in each and every phase of SF? How Activate is better? What are the different phases in Activate? So these kind of questions should be very clear in your mind. So before I go in detail and talk about these two methodologies, let's talk a very simple example. Let's take a very simple example where you are a consultant and you want to implement or you want to develop a new software. Okay, let's assume I have given you the task to develop a software for my company. What is my company? Let's say my company is providing the trainings and I want you to develop a software where I'll be able to capture all my students. I'll be able to capture all the courses. I'll be able to capture all the fees that I collected. I'll be able to capture all the different reports. So this is my requirement and I asked you to create a software. So what you will do, what would be your first thing that you need to do before you actually start developing the software? So that is the reason I'm explaining you something called as SDLC, which is normally used in the software industry. Okay, which stands for Software Development Life Cycle.
Hello,
Okay, so
Vikram.
yes, Deepak.
Vikram, I can see only your GoToMeeting screen. Is that right?
Is
I
it?
can't
What
see.
about other?
I can't see the other screen where you are typing.
No, it is
What about
visible.
other?
I can see your PDF. I mean, what do you call this? PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah. Deepak, so just log off and log in again.
Okay, I do that. Thank you.
Okay, request all of you to go on mute. Yeah. So I will just explain you what is SDLC. Okay, so maybe before I go into the details of SDLC, I want you to tell me what do you think, how a software can be developed. Okay, just think that you are in place of developing the software. What are the different activities that you need to carry out in order to complete the software? Where will you start? I just told you I need a software for my company. What would be your first question? Anyone who knows? Yeah, Saurabh, you're saying requirement. First of all, you will gather the requirements from me, right?
Correct.
Okay, you will come to me, you will say, okay, I know you want to create a software, but can you tell me what exactly you want to see in the software? How you want to see the software? What are the different areas that you want to capture? Can you tell me what fields you want to capture? In the student master data, what are the different fields? What information I need to capture? In the courses master data, what exactly I need to capture? Okay, so these are some of the questions which you need to ask to your customer before you start developing the software. So number one is requirement. Okay, now let's assume you already got the requirement. What you will do next? You already know what needs to be done. So what you will do next? If you already know the requirements and you are already good in coding, what you will do?
Development.
You start developing it, right? You start, maybe if you are a developer, you will start developing or coding. If you are not the developer, you will ask your development team to start developing the software, right? So next is you will develop. Okay, so you got the requirement. Now you start developing. Once the development has been completed, or maybe parallelly, I'm not saying the development is 100% completed, then only you will go to the next stage. Once the development is somehow completed, what you will do next?
We missed the design phase, Vikram.
Requirement is different. Requirement
Yes.
gathering, right?
Design and develop, we can make it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'll come to that. So SAP terminologies I'll come. So I'm just talking about SDLC as of now. Requirement gathering, I think, is part of design phase itself. Okay. Once you develop, what will you do next?
Test.
You'll definitely test it, right? Whether it is working or not. Okay, and let's assume you tested everything, it is working fine. What you will do next?
Deploy.
Deploy. Deploy means you will ask the customer that I am deploying this, I am giving this to you, and I am activating all the functionalities, and you start using it. So once you deploy, next is
Support.
once you
Maintenance or continuous usage and maintenance.
yes, so start using the software, run the software, and regular maintenance. Okay, now one thing, before you start the requirement in any project, it starts with the planning. You need to start with the planning. You have to first do the planning, what exactly you want to do, what software you want to build, who's the team who will be responsible for working on this software, right? So there is a planning activity that you need to carry out. Then you will go for the requirement gathering. Based on the requirement gathering, you will start developing the software. Once the software is developed, you will start testing it. Once the testing has been completed, you will deploy. And once the deployment phase has been completed, you will start running the software. So any software, it can be SAP, non-SAP, any software, this is a normal software development life cycle. Okay, now maybe if you do Google, you will be able to find design also as a part of this one. So, but these are the high level activities that I have written. You can also create, maybe you can divide requirement gathering also in two parts. Maybe you can test also, you can divide into 2-3 parts. So one is the testing that you as a developer are doing. Second is the UAT. So there are a lot of other activities which can come in between. But overall, if I give you the higher picture, these are the important activities that you need to carry out in any software development cycle. So it is SAP, Oracle, or any different ERP that you are implementing, or any small software that you are implementing. It should start with the planning. You will gather the requirements. Based on the requirements, you will develop the software. You will perform the test. If everything is working fine, you will deploy, and then your business will start using it, and you would be participating in the regular maintenance, which means the normal support activity. So once the user will start running the software, then only the support part will come into the picture. So this is nothing but your regular support. So this is how any software works. SAP is not different. SAP is also going to follow the same thing. So what I will do is I will add another slide, and here I will enter a table so that we can compare all these things that we have just now written between SDLC, SAP, and Activate. Okay, so this is nothing. So what are these called as? Planning, requirement, develop, test, deploy, and all. These are called as phases in the project. These are different phases in the project. Okay, so which are the different phases? We identified the phase as prepare or plan phase. Planning. Number 2 is requirement gathering. Number 3 is develop. So develop and test, I am writing in the same one, develop and test. Once the developing and test has been completed, you have deploy. And finally, the last one, let me know how can I insert a column here. Yeah, insert a row, add a row below. Okay, so deploy and then start running the software, which means you can say go live or run, no problem. So these are the different activities. I want to compare these two activities, what they are called is in SAP ASAP methodology, and what these different phases are called in SAP Activate methodology. Okay, so all these phases are required in both the methodologies. If you go to SAP ASAP, this planning phase is called as initial preparation. Okay, in SAP Activate, this phase is called as prepare phase. If you go to requirement gathering phase, this is called as business blueprinting phase. Okay, in SAP Activate, this is called as explore phase. If you go to develop and test, this phase is called as realization. In case of SAP ASAP, this develop and test is called as realization. In SAP Activate, it is called as realize. When you go to the deployment phase, it is called as final preparation. So this is initial preparation, this is final preparation. Deployment means final preparation. Here it is called as deploy. Okay, and finally, run phase. In case of SAP SDLC, here it is called as go live and support. Here it is called as run itself. So in SAP Activate, we have prepare, we have explore, we have realize, we have deploy, and then we have run. Okay, what are the different activities that we carry out in each and every phase? So let me write it here itself. What are the different activities that we do in SDLC? So planning is project management planning. Okay, what exactly project management planning includes? Finalizing the team, right? Finalizing the project structure, project management plan, finalizing the project plan, structure, project governance. These are all project management related activities which a project manager needs to do. Okay, before the actual consulting comes into the picture. The consultants will come into the picture during the requirement gathering phase. So in the requirement gathering, what will happen? Understanding the business requirements. Okay, so you will sit with the users, understanding the business requirements by discussions with users. How can you do these discussions? You can do these discussions by taking their interviews. Interviews in the sense you will sit with them and you will ask them, okay, how you are doing this thing. Okay, observations, you will see what exactly they are doing in their current system. If they want to use SAP also in the same way, so you will see the observations. You can conduct the workshops, okay, in which you will understand their business requirements, etc. Okay, so ultimately you will be conducting the requirements by sitting one-to-one with the business users, by observing them what exactly they are doing and where they want help. You can conduct the workshops where the entire team can be invited and you want to start a discussion telling them what are exactly your requirements. You are noting down those requirements, and finally you are having a requirement document. Once your requirement document is ready, you will enter in the development phase. So in the development phase, maybe you need to customize your solution. Okay, customized solution means whatever solution you are selling. In our case, we are selling SAP system. So I need to customize SAP system to suit my business requirements. Okay, or it may also require coding. So you need to code, you need to change the behavior of the system to match the requirements. Okay, and once it is developed, you will start testing it. Test whether the developed solution is meeting business requirements or not. So I got the requirements, I have the requirement already with me. I have a solution also ready. I will verify whether this solution is meeting these requirements or not. Okay, if this is matching, then I will go to the deployment phase. What I'll do in the deployment phase, I will set up the system to be used. Set up the system to be used by the business. Okay, so that before I give it to the business, I want to make sure that all the settings are done and the system can be given to the end users so that they can start doing the transactions. So set up the system to be used by the business users. So these are the high level activities. If you go within each and every phase, you will find hundreds of activities. Okay, so at this moment, I am just giving you the feel, just an overview how exactly these things are done during the project. Okay, and finally, you will go to the run phase where you will start using the system. Now, we will try to enter all these details, okay, according to the methodology. So when I say SAP SF methodology, what is done in the initial preparation, what is done in the business blueprinting, what is done in the realization, what is done in the final preparation, and finally, what you do in the go live and support. Once we complete this, we will also see SAP Activate, and then final slide, we will try to compare how SAP Activate is better compared to SAP SF methodology. So let me go to the next slide where I will understand SAP SF in detail. So let me first of all write all the phases of SAP SF methodology. So it starts with initial preparation. After that, business blueprinting. These things should be very clear in your mind. Okay, you have to do this by heart because these are the things which are asked in the interviews. So initial preparation, business blueprinting, realization, final preparation, okay, and finally you have go live and regular support, or maybe sometimes you will also find go live and support as separate activities. So initial preparation, these are all project management related activities. I don't need to enter any details. I think if you want the details, you can go to SDLC and you can see what exactly are the activities that are done during the preparation phase. So finalizing the team, finalizing the project structure, creating a project management plan, all those activities are done during the prepare phase. Normally in the prepare phase, normally in the initial preparation phase, there is not much activity from the consultants. It is totally done by the project managers. Consultant activity starts with the business blueprinting. What do you mean by business blueprint? Business blueprint is nothing but a simple document. It can be the Word file, it can be the PDF file, okay, which you will create as a consultant. Let's assume you are a MM consultant, or you are a SD consultant, or you are a FICO consultant in SAP. Let's assume, let's take this simple example. I am a project manager in this project, and I already completed my project management related activities. Okay, completed means whatever is required in the initial preparation phase, because project manager activities doesn't get end here. Project manager has to work throughout the project. Even after the project is closed, then also there are a lot of activities that the project manager continuously has to perform. So let's assume I have completed initial preparation activities and I have finalized the team. So one of you is a consultant who is responsible for MM. One from you is responsible consultant for SD, and one of you is a responsible consultant for FI. Normally, CEO also is different. So just assume you are only responsible for FI. What would be your responsibility in the business blueprinting phase? So if you are MM consultant or SD consultant or FICO consultant, your responsibility is sit with the respective team. So if you are MM consultant, with which team you will sit? Who is your business user? If you are MM consultant,
Procurement
team, purchasing team, right? If you are MM consultant, you are responsible to understand the purchasing process, how this company is doing the purchasing. Okay, how many type of processes are there, whether they are purchasing the raw material, or they are purchasing the services, or they are purchasing the assets. So all these things you need to understand in detail. What is their process? Whenever a purchase order is created, how many purchase order approvals are required? Okay, so as a MM consultant, your responsibility is to sit with the business users who are responsible for purchasing, understand their requirements, understand what they want from SAP. Okay, so you will be getting around 2 to 3 months of time just to understand their business requirement. How will you understand the business requirement? So you will sit with your end user and start conducting the interviews. So you'll go to the procurement team, you will ask them, okay, I am a SAP consultant and I'm responsible for implementing SAP MM at this particular company. Can you tell me what is your end-to-end process for procurement? So they will tell you, okay, in our procurement, we have 3 types of procurements. We do the material procurement, we do the service procurement, and we do the asset procurement. For material procurement, these are the different stages. For service procurement, these are the different stages. These are the different approvers. So it is not very straightforward. You are getting 2 to 3 months. It is not like just one discussion and you have come up with the business blueprinting. This is the most important phase in any project, because based on this phase you will carry forward. If your this process, if this business blueprinting is not done properly, what will happen? Even if you go for realization, final preparation, and later on you will come to know that you have not understood the requirement. If you have not understood the requirement, whatever effort you put here, there will be a lot of rework. Just think about this. You are, let's assume you are in a hotel and you are ordering something. You ordered a dish. Okay, the waiter has got your requirement. Okay, waiter has understood what exactly you want. But think in this way, waiter has not understood your requirement. You said something, but waiter has written something else in his paper. So the realization, which means the cook who is cooking that particular dish, he has cooked something wrong. Okay, and finally it came here, or maybe here itself when you are doing the testing. So what you will do, you will ask him to cook again. So this realization again has to be done from scratch. You have to update your business blueprint and you have to again go to the realization phase from scratch. And that is the reason this business blueprinting is a very important phase in which you have to make sure that you are utilizing your time to understand each and every requirement and clearly writing down in the business blueprint document. So business blueprint document is either a Word document or a PDF document where you captured most of the requirements from the customer, so that before you go into the realization phase, you are 100% aware what exactly is expected to be delivered to the customer, right? So you will utilize this 2-3 months of time to understand the business requirement. You will sit with the business, you will conduct various different workshops, you can see the observations, you can sit with them and you will tell them, okay, I want to sit 1 week with you. I want to know how you are doing the purchasing process. I want to know how you create the purchase order in your current system. Maybe you are not using SAP today, but at least I will understand how your purchasing process works. Right? Same way, SD consultant will go and sit with the sales team. He will understand how the sales process is working. He will understand how in the sales process, which are the different level of approvals, how they create a contract in the system, how they convert the contract into the sales order, how they convert the sales order into the billing. So they will try to understand each and every process from the sales point of view. So as a sales consultant, as an SD consultant, your responsibility is to come up with the sales related business blueprinting. So MM consultant will create MM business blueprint, SD consultant will create SD business blueprint. Similarly, FICO guy will sit with the accountants. FI guys have to sit with the accountants and they have to understand how the accounts payables are handled, how the accounts receivables are handled, okay, how the end users are creating the invoices, how they are receiving the payments, how they are purchasing the assets, what depreciations they are calculating, what are the activities that they are doing in the month end. So all these requirements have to be captured very clearly in your business blueprinting document. So business blueprinting document in SAP ASAP methodology is a document which tells you which gives you the complete direction of what you are going to do in the remaining part of the project. Okay, so business blueprinting is a Word document. So I'm not saying business blueprinting is a Word document. It is a phase in which consultants will gather the business requirements and create a business blueprint document. It is also called as BBP, business blueprint. Okay, create a BBP and it has to be signed off. This is very important. So you have written something, but the question is it already discussed with the business? Sign off means what? You have created a document and you have to show this document to your business. And you have to tell them, see, based on the understanding that I got from your business, I came to know that these are the features that you are looking for in SAP. Okay, so you will submit this document, they will review it, there will be a lot of discussions. They may not be able to understand the BPP that you have provided to them. They may not be able to understand the technical terms that you used. So they will ask you to modify something. They will tell you that no, this particular requirement you are not understood in detail. So we need to, whatever you have written is not enough. We want to add more information into this. So there will be a lot of rounds for discussion during the business blueprint. But ultimately, once you also and your business users also agreed, they will do the sign off. Sign off means they confirm that yes, whatever is written in the business blueprint document, that is exactly what we want to see in our system. Okay, so once this sign off is done, then only you should go to the realization phase, because you know now customer has already confirmed that yes, this is exactly what I'm looking. So you are now 100% sure that I should go to the realization phase and I should start doing the development of this particular system. Clear? Any question on the business blueprinting part? If you feel that I am going fast or slow, please stop me, because it should not happen that I am being very fast and you are not able to digest the topics. Just tell me if anything is going faster. No questions? Can I proceed to the realization phase? Okay. So once you understood the requirement, what you will do as per the SDLC, you will go to the development phase. Now, if it is a software which is being developed from scratch, in that case, there is no other option but you have to write the coding itself if you are developing a completely new software. But in our case, when we are talking about SAP, we are not developing SAP from scratch. SAP is already developed software. So what are we doing in the realization phase? In the realization phase, we are just activating those features which are required by us. We don't need to start from scratch. SAP has already provided the software which is already ready to be used. But only thing is SAP has provided hundreds, thousands of features. It is not necessary that all the customers will use all these features. So we just need to understand which features customers want to use in the business blueprinting, and based on those features, we need to activate those features during the realization phase. Number one. Number two, customer has given you a requirement that I want to see this functionality in SAP. But you as a consultant know that although SAP is a very big software, but this customer, what functionality he is looking for, that is not in SAP. Very much possible. Okay, we cannot say everything is available in SAP. There are some points which are not available in SAP. And if they are very important for the business, they will say, no, without these features, I cannot go for SAP. So what you will do in that case, if there is a requirement from the customer that I want to use this feature, but on the other hand, SAP doesn't have that feature. So one very good thing from SAP is they provide you the option to change the SAP product as per your requirements. But again, I'm talking about on-premise. If you are using cloud, in cloud, as I told you, SAP will not allow you to change the standard processes. If you are using on-premise system, then SAP provides you all the options. They will tell you, this is your system now. You decide what you want to use. You decide how you want to change the system. Okay, although it is not recommended, although wherever possible, we should try to convince the customer that the functionalities which are already available in SAP, they should be used as it is. But sometimes it becomes necessary for the customer also to create those functionalities which are not part of the standard product. So in that particular case only, we need to develop, we need to change something in the standard SAP system. So there are, when we are talking about realization, there are two things. Number one, adjust or activate. Instead of adjust, I'll say activate the standard processes, activate the required standard processes, because there are a lot of standard processes, but you will be only activating those which are required by your organization. So activate the required standard processes. And number two, create the custom business processes. I know a lot of you are new to SAP, so this is very important. You should understand these two terminologies which should be used throughout your SAP career. What is the difference between the standard process and the custom process? Standard process is something which is already pre-delivered by SAP. SAP has already given you this functionality. So there are a lot of functionalities which are already given to you by SAP. You don't need to do anything. You just need to activate those features, nothing else. But for those features which are not provided by SAP, okay, those features which are not provided by SAP, if you want to create on your own, those are called as custom processes. This standard processes, if you go to 10 companies who are using SAP, the standard processes will remain same. The way the standard processes are used, it is exactly same for those customers who are using SAP. But the custom process will be different in each company. So if you go to one company, if you see their custom process, it is not necessary that this custom process is also used by another company who is using SAP. That is the reason it is called as custom. Custom means as per customer's requirement. So customer requirements would be different. If you go to two separate companies, your customer requirement would be separate. But the standard will remain same. Whatever is there in the standard SAP system, that will not be changed. So remember, in the realization phase, we need to activate the required standard processes, or we need to create, or maybe instead of create, I will also say, or adjust. So it may not be the complete development, but you want to change the behavior of the standard system. So you need to create or adjust the custom business processes. These are the two things that you will be doing during the realization phase. Who will be doing the activation of standard business processes? Who will activate the standard processes?
Functional consultant.
Functional consultant. If you are a SD consultant, if you are MM consultant, if you are a FICO consultant, Your responsibility is to activate the standard processes. How? That is exactly what we are going to learn during this course. Once we are done with these basic sessions, what are we going to do? We are going to understand the standard business processes from the FICO point of view, from the MM point of view, from the SD point of view. So those of you who are from FI, they will understand the basic processes, standard processes from FI. Those of you who are from MM, they will understand the MM standard processes, SD standard processes. Okay, so it is our responsibility as a functional consultant to activate the required standard processes. Who will do the creation and adjustment of the custom business processes?
Developer.
Developer, right? In SAP terms, it is called as a technical consultant. So a functional consultant, I am writing here so that it is very clear in your mind. A functional consultant will activate the required standard business processes, and the technical consultant, okay, you can call it as a developer. Okay, a technical consultant would be responsible to create or adjust the custom business processes, mainly ABAP consultant. But in addition to ABAP, there may be some other technical consultants also required. Maybe if there is a need of connecting two different SAP systems or connecting non-SAP to SAP system. So I'm not restricting this to ABAPer. I'm saying all the technical consultants are responsible to create or adjust the custom business processes. One more thing which I wanted to add here, functional consultants will take the requirement from in the business blueprinting phase. Yeah, in the business blueprinting phase, as a functional consultant, you are responsible to take the requirements from the business. What about the technical consultants? These technical consultants also will take the business requirement from the business, or what?
No. No, they'll take it from the functional guys.
Exactly. So as a functional consultant, you are not only responsible for activating the standard business processes, you are also responsible for giving the custom business processes requirement to the technical consultants. Normally, okay, I'm saying normally, it is not necessary, but it is best practice. Technical consultants should not directly discuss anything with the business users. It is a functional consultant who is responsible to understand all the business requirements from the business users. Whether it is a standard or a custom, that a functional consultant will decide. And functional consultant will give the requirement to the technical consultant, what needs to be created, what needs to be changed, what needs to be adjusted. So just remember, functional consultant will provide the requirements to technical consultants. Technical consultants should avoid direct interaction with the business users. Okay, why we are saying technical consultants should not directly discuss with the business users who are creating the purchase orders, who are creating the sales orders, who are doing the invoicing, who are doing the payments. They are not aware about the technical things. They are not aware about how the coding is written, right? So they will not be able to tell the technical consultant what to write, what to change. But functional consultants, although they are may not be good in the coding, but they understand how the system is developed, what exactly is used in the background. Okay, so although functional consultant doesn't need to know the coding, but the technical architecture, like how the data is stored in the tables, okay, those things are known by the functional consultant, and that is the reason this is the right person to tell the requirements to the technical consultants. Okay, so in the realization phase, a functional consultant will activate the required standard processes, and the technical consultant will create or adjust the custom business processes by taking the requirement from the functional consultants. Clear on this? Any question? Okay, so in the realization phase itself, we also need to perform the testing. Test the standard and custom business processes. So not only you need to activate, not only you need to adjust, but you also need to verify that the standard and the custom business processes are working fine. Once this is done, once you feel that my realization phase has been completed, all the required standard business processes are active, most of the custom business processes are also active, you will enter into the final preparation phase. What you will do in the final preparation phase? Now, just think in this way. You are a customer, you are implementing SAP for the first time. Do you already know how to use SAP? If let's say many of you are the end users, right? You are working as an accountant, or you are working as a part of purchasing team or the sales team. So your company is implementing SAP. Okay, you already gave the requirements to the functional consultants and they have set up the system. Now if they give you the system, will you be able to work on the system directly, or you need a training? Training is required, right? Without training, you will not start working on the system. You cannot start. Who will provide you the training? Again, a functional consultant will provide the trainings to business users. So the training is provided during the final preparation. Once the training is provided, you will be getting the server to try your scenarios. If I give you the training, if I tell you this is how the system works, now after I provided you the training, what I will do, I will tell you to test whatever we configured is matching your business requirements or not. So users will perform testing. This is called as user acceptance test. User will perform the testing. User will check whether the system is working fine, whether my business processes that I gave to this consultant during the business blueprinting phase, whether those are activated properly, whether they are working properly or not. If not, in UAT, there will be a lot of issues which will be reported by the end users, by the business users. And you as a functional consultant need to solve those issues only once the user has completed the UAT. Once the user has given you go ahead, yes, everything is working fine as per my business requirements, then only you can say my UAT phase is over. And once your UAT phase is over, you will do preparation for go live. What preparations you will do for go live? So you will start, or you will prepare for data migration. Okay, what do you mean by data migration? So if you want to start using SAP as a customer, there are a lot of customers, vendors, GL accounts which you want to migrate to SAP. Let's assume you want to start SAP from today. You want to book a customer invoice and the customer itself is not created in SAP till now. How will you do the process then? So you want to make sure that whatever customers you are using in your old system, those are also available in SAP. Whatever suppliers you are using in your current system, those suppliers are also available in SAP. Whatever general ledger accounts you want to post, debit, credit, whatever, so those GL accounts also available in SAP. So that data migration is also part of the final preparation phase. Once all these things are over, once the user is knowing how to carry out the transactions, once the user has performed all the user acceptance test, once the data migration activity has been completed, on one fine day you will say go live, which means start entering the transactions in SAP system. Who will do this? Who will start entering the business transactions in SAP system? Functional consultant?
Business users.
It is business user, right? Functional consultant work is done. Functional consultant has provided you the system with all the data. He has provided you the training. You have already signed that yes, everything is working fine. So functional consultant job is over. Now it is your system, customer system. They should start using this system going forward. And whenever they will start using system, again, they will realize lot of errors. They will need lot of help in processing the transactions. And that is exactly where the support part will come into the picture. So who will support? Functional as well as technical. So there may be some errors they are facing from the technical side. So functional and technical consultants will provide day-to-day support. Okay, so it is not one-time activity. Every day user will face some problem and you are responsible to provide the solution to that problem in the support phase. Okay, so I'm not making this complicated. There are a lot of activities which are done here. So as of now, I want to keep it simple. So when I say data migration, it is not only data migration for master data, it is data migration for master data, for transactional data. Okay, we will understand all these things in detail, module by module. But as of now, just remember in the final preparation, 3 important things if you remember, that is fine. Number 1, trainings to be provided to the business users. Number 2, UAT test should be carried out. And number 3, you should prepare for go live. Within preparation for go live, there are a lot of activities which you don't need to worry as of now. What is this called as? There are 2 tests that we have seen. One test is being done by the user. It is called as user acceptance test. One test is being carried out by the consultant itself in the realization phase. This is normally called as unit testing. Okay, just for your information. The test that as a functional consultant you will carry out before you give the system to the client, that is called as unit testing, and the testing which is carried out by the business users, it is called as UAT, which is nothing but user acceptance test. So this is how SAP SF methodology looks like. SAP SF methodology consists of 5 different phases, or 6 or 7, whatever you call it as. Normally we say 5, go live and support is included in 1. Number 1 is initial preparation, in which all the project management activities, project plan, setting up the team, setting up the infrastructure, whatever is required to enter in the business blueprinting phase is done in the initial preparation. Once you are in the business blueprinting phase, you are responsible to gather all the business requirements and create a proper document for BBP. This document can be a Word document, it can be the PDF document, and before you start working on setting up the system, this document must be signed off by the business. That yes, this is exactly what we are looking for. You enter in the realization phase, you carry out all, you activate the required standard processes. You also may need to adjust the custom processes, so you will take a help of the technical team here. Once these are developed, you will perform the unit testing. After you are 100% sure that yes, whatever was given to us by the business users has been already developed and it is working in the system, you will go to the final preparation phase. You will provide the training to the end users. You will ask them to check the system. They will perform the UAT. After the UAT sign off, you will go for the go live preparation. And once your preparation is completed, you will start entering your business users will start entering the business transactions, and whenever they feel any issues, any concerns, they will come back to you during the support, day-to-day support. Okay, so now coming to how Activate is different. So SAP looks very good, right? If SAP is already having all the points written, then what is the reason why SAP came up with SAP Activate? We are using SAP SF methodology from years, more than 15-20 years now. For all ECC related implementations, it was strongly recommended to use SAP SF methodology. But now SAP said for SAP S4HANA projects, stop using SAP SF and start using SAP Activate. Okay, what exactly is SAP Activate? What are the different phases? So it starts with the prepare. After prepare, you have explore, then you have realize, then you have deploy, and finally you have run. Okay, activities also you will find same. So when I talk about the prepare activities, what are the activities that you need to do in the prepare phase? Again, same, project management related activities. Okay, so setting up the team, setting up the infrastructure, setting up the project management plan, all those things are done in the prepare phase. What is happening in the explore phase? It is also same as business blueprinting. So what you do in the explore phase? Maybe I'll copy this phase in which consultants will gather the business requirements and create a BBP and take a sign off. Okay, so now let's try to understand, because there are a lot of changes in the explore phase. So this is a phase in which consultants will gather the business requirement completely fine and create a BBP, and it has to be signed off. There is no BBP if you are using SAP Activate. Business blueprinting concept is not used in SAP Activate. That is the reason even the phase name from business blueprinting has been changed to explore phase. So what happens in explore phase? This is a phase in which consultants will gather the business requirements from the users by following a new way of gathering the requirements. A new way of gathering the requirements. So whatever we were doing in business blueprinting, that is not going to work in SAP Activate. Now the question is what? What is the difference? What is the new way? So if I ask you the simple thing, in business blueprinting phase, how you gather the requirements? I already told you, you will do the interviews. Okay, you will conduct the workshops. You will do some observations. Based on this, maybe you will also create a questionnaire. You will send the questionnaire to your business users, asking them how this is handled, how that is handled. So you will get the requirements, right? But when it comes to SAP Activate, definitely in SAP Activate also we can do the interviews, we can do the workshops, we can create the questionnaires, we can do the observations. That is all fine. But there is one new thing which you would be doing here is something new. You will, or a functional consultant will, start showing them standard SAP business processes. This is something completely new. That is the reason this methodology is different. When we understood SAP SF methodology, have I told you to show any system to the business users? When you conduct the business blueprinting, just understand this is all theoretical discussion. You are not showing any SAP system to the client. Can you tell me in SAP SF methodology, when this user will be able to access the SAP screen? When this user will actually get a feel of how exactly SAP looks like? In which phase?
User training and acceptance UAT, final
Exactly.
preparation.
So during the final preparation phase, user will actually get to see how SAP screens looks like. Before final preparation, user was not aware what exactly is SAP. He's just giving you the requirements. I want to see this in SAP. I want to see that in SAP. But he never has seen SAP screen at all. Okay, so let's say if a complete project, see normally SAP projects takes, the mid-size project also take at least 1 year to implement, right? If I divide these activities in 1 year, so this initial preparation definitely will take 1 month. Okay, 1 month of time would be spent on doing the initial preparation. Business blueprinting being a very critical phase, we normally give around 30% of time, which means let's say around 3 to 4 months you will spend on doing the business blueprinting. Then realization, maybe you will spend another 3 months to perform the realization. Okay. Final preparation, again, maybe another 3 months that you will spend on doing the final preparation. So 3 plus 3, 6, 10, 11. Okay, so maybe I'll make it 4. So let's assume you are taking 12 months to implement this project. So in this 12 months, this 1 month, completely project management activities. This 3 to 4 months, all theoretical discussions, everything on air, nothing practically to be seen in the system. This 3 months, you are doing the settings in the system, but this realization phase, are you involving end user here? Business users are not at all involved. It is a functional consultant and technical consultants who are working on the system. So the user will come only into the picture after 8 months of the project, when we are only left with 4 months to implement. And then there will be a lot of surprises. Why? Think in this way. I'll give you a very practical example. You bought a new home and you are looking to you want to set up the furniture in your house. Okay, interior, you want to do the interior designing of your home. What you will do, you will call the interior designer. So their project manager will come, he will understand your requirement, he will set up a team will be sent to your home. Now this team, what they will do, this team will come to you and they will understand your business requirements, but they are writing everything in the paper. Okay, you want a bed here, the bed should be 6 by 6 or 8 by 8, whatever it is. You want a sofa here, sofa would be this size, all this. Everything you are just writing in the piece of paper, right? You are not seen anything. You're not seen how exactly the sofa will be built. He's just saying, okay, I'll build the sofa, I will give this color, I will do this, I will do that. Everything on the paper, nothing to be seen, right? And then he will give the paper and he will tell you, just sign this paper if I have written your requirements properly or not. So what you are doing is, you are just going through the theoretical paper that, okay, there will be 2 beds, there will be 1 sofa, there will be 1 dining table, there will be whatever furniture they have written. Okay, and then looking at the paper, you are signing off and actual work is started here. So your furniture guy has started working, and even when he is working, you don't have any control. You are not able to even enter the home. He will say, see you after 3 months. So out of 1 year, 9 months are already over, 8 months are already over. On the 9th month, he is inviting you that everything is ready, please come and test. And you are completely surprised. On the paper, everything was looking fine. But when I see the color, when I see the size of the sofa, when I see the other things, I'm not really happy with that. What you will do now? Entire rework. You will tell, oh, this is not what I'm looking for. Please make the changes. So he will say, oh, in that case, I need additional 8 months. Not only that, the effort that you paid to them, the material that you wasted, everything is lost for you as a customer. And that is exactly why many projects who are following SAP SF methodology, okay, I'm not saying they are failing, but they are delaying. I will not say it is a fail because it was a proven methodology that we were using from years. So what should be done now? How can we get rid of this kind of issues? So let's do one thing. Instead of writing everything on paper, let's try to show them something in the system. So whenever a interior designer comes to your home, instead of writing everything on the paper, he may take you to some customers who have already done the interior designing. He will show you practically, this is how your sofa will look like, this is how your bed will look like. And looking at that, you will be more confident that yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. You will be more confident when you sign the explore phase. In the explore phase, you are getting the chance to see how exactly SAP screens looks like, how exactly I'll be able to process the transaction. You are getting more confidence that yes, this is how exactly I want to see the system, or this is not exactly what I want to see. So there itself, you can give the feedback in the explore phase itself, right? So during the explore phase itself, the new thing which is introduced is start showing the standard SAP system. Where will you get the SAP system from? That is another question. SAP system normally comes during the realization phase. If the system is not ready at all, if I have not set up the system till now, what should I show? So for that, SAP has helped you with the standard best practice system. SAP will give you a system which you can use on explore phase, in the explore phase. And that system is already having a lot of setups done. That is a pre-activated system. Many functionalities are already active. So you don't need to waste your time in activating those. You can directly start working on that system, show the system to the user. You can also, again, it totally depends upon your organization policy. In one of the projects where we are working, we already given the system in the explore phase itself. Go and play with the system. Tell us what is your finding, what is your feedback. So they are more confident. They are feeling confident that yes, this is exactly what we wanted to do in the system and this is not what we wanted to do in the system. So they are giving you the proper feedback now itself, in this stage itself. So this is something which will unnecessarily delay the project, and it will give you more confidence as a business user that whether this is exactly what I'm looking for or not. So that is very important. That is the reason business blueprinting was a completely theoretical document. In explore phase, in activate, we are not going to create a business blueprint. Rather, we are going to demonstrate the business systems to the users using the best practices. This is important. Showing them the standard SAP business processes using SAP based practices. Now, where will you find the best practices? How will you know what I need to show to the user? So for that, I will show you one link. I will provide you one link. Maybe after this completion of this theoretical discussions, I will show you some important links where you should go and you should understand all these things in detail. Okay, and throughout the course, we will be discussing on those links also. So SAP best practices are already pre-delivered by SAP, and even SAP has a documentation on that. We will be just using that documentation to update. Instead of writing everything from scratch, we will just use that document, and for each and every activity that you have shown to the business, you will capture their feedback, whether this is something which he is looking for or he wants to change the standard behavior. Okay, so that is nothing but your explore phase. Once your explore phase is completed, you got a very clear idea what I want to implement. Then you will go to the realization phase. Now, can you tell me what is the problem in the realization phase here in SAP SF methodology? I told you the example of the furniture guy. For 3 months, he told us not to visit the home. He will only call us, he will only invite us once everything is completed. What if this guy allows us to have a regular visits? If this guy allows us, okay, after every 2-3 days, you can come and you can see what is the progress. You can come, you can give your feedback based on which we will take the action. Okay, that is exactly which was missing here. Normally in the realization phase, if you are using SAP SF methodology, you were not involving your business users to contribute. You were not taking their feedback. Their feedback was only invited at this stage. Now in the realize phase of SAP Activate, we are going to follow Scrum Master, or you can say Agile. So Scrum Master, Agile, these are all new technologies which are available in the software development projects. So in short, I will not complicate the discussion to Agile and Scrum Master. What exactly I mean to say is there would be regular stand-up meetings with the business users. So maybe twice a week, okay, or maybe daily half an hour of discussion before you start working on the normal day-to-day activities. You will have a discussion with the business users where you will tell them what you have already set up in the system. You will just show them this is what we have done today. So if they feel that there is some deviation in the business requirements, they can comment here itself, which will save a lot of time rather than developing everything and then customer says, no, this is not what I'm looking for. Right? So regular stand-up meetings with the business users are carried out in the realization phase. Okay, and it is moderated by Scrum Master. So this is concept which is coming from Scrum. Scrum Master is a person who is responsible to make sure that this type of meetings are happening on day-to-day basis, and the team is actively participating in all these meetings. And if there is any problem, if there is any challenge faced in the project due to which we are not able to complete the work, this person would be responsible to make sure that everybody is 100% contributing to the project. Okay, so this realization phase is very important and it is done in sprints. This is another terminology which is coming from the software development industry. Sprints means instead of doing everything together, here all the 3 months of activities are done all at once. But in this case, you will have a regular sprints. Sprints means every weekly, whatever you have developed, you will verify whether we are going in the correct direction or not. So you will be having the plans for every week. For example, instead of, if I am a project manager, I told you, okay, as a FI consultant, I gave you 3 months, complete this activity, and we will meet after 3 months. We will see what is the status. Okay, what will happen after 3 months? Project manager asks you how much work is done. You will say, oh, I've only completed 40%. If he asks why, you will tell him there were a lot of challenges. I was not getting this information. The server was down. This was like, there can be a lot of reasons for that. So what is the better thing? Better thing is, if a manager, if a scrum master is checking on day-to-day basis, if he is having every 10 days, every 7 days, a meeting to check whether everything is going fine or there are any changes required or any challenges that you are facing. So it will be easier to track and it will be easier to make sure that the project is going in the right direction. So regular sprints. Sprints means every weekly you will monitor whatever work has been completed, whether you found any challenges, and you will plan for the next week activity. Okay, so the sprints will be done during the realization phase. And obviously, ultimately what you want to achieve here, ultimately you want to achieve the same thing. You want to activate the standard processes and you want to adjust the custom processes. So activities are same, the way is different. You're doing the same thing what you do in SAP methodology also, but only thing is the stand-up meetings, this regular sprints, these were not part of the SAP methodology. These are introduced now with SAP Activate. Okay, so this is how SAP Activate helps you in the realization phase also. Coming to the deployment phase. Okay, any questions till now? Any questions? Okay, if no question, let's go to the deployment phase. What we do in the deployment phase? Deploy means final preparation. In the final preparation, we provide the training to the business users, we conduct the UAT, and we prepare for go live. So all the same activities, even in Activate also, we will be doing the same activities. During the deployment phase, we will provide the training to the business users, we will perform the UAT, and we will prepare for go live. Then what is new in SAP Activate? The new thing in SAP Activate is SAP has provided lot of tools which we can use here to accelerate this process. Okay, so for example, when we were using SAP SF methodology, in order to provide the training to the end users, in order to provide the training to the business users, we were creating the documents, end user training documents. As a functional consultant, maybe we can use the document which we used in our previous project, but we need to adjust it to suit the business requirement of this customer. So we were creating the documents from scratch. Now with SAP Activate, SAP has already provided the standard documents. You don't need to start from scratch. You don't need to start creating the documents from scratch. SAP has already provided some documents that can be directly used for the end user training. So the benefit here is functional consultants will definitely provide the training to the business users using the pre-delivered end user training documents. This is number one. What about user acceptance test? What we were doing in UAT here. So even in UAT, we were providing the test scripts to the business users. What is a test script? So if you tell the user, can you do the testing and give me the results? He will say, what should I test? If you tell him, okay, try all the processes, he will just try 2-3 processes and he will tell you whether it is working or not. But that is not the right way. The right way is he should test each and every functionality in the system. So where is the list of each and every functionality? That is your responsibility as a functional consultant to provide him end-to-end list. So if you are a procurement team, you will ask him, create a purchase requisition, convert the purchase requisition into purchase order, do the good receipt against the purchase order, create an invoice, make a payment. This is a complete test script. So you have to create a test script and you have to give it to your business users so that they can carry out all these transactions. So again, as a functional consultant, you were creating the test scripts, which is again a time-consuming job. Now with SAP Activate, SAP has pre-delivered. So UAT using SAP pre-delivered test scripts. So SAP has also provided you pre-delivered test scripts. Next one is preparation for go live. So data migration for master data, data migration for transactional data. If you are following SAP SF methodology, this data migration we were using the tools called as LSMW, BDC. That is exactly what we are going to discuss in detail at the end of this course. So as I told you, during the end of this course, we are again going to have this merge session for all the modules together, where we will be understanding the data migration tools like LSMWs, BDCs, LTMCs. Okay, so there are a lot of data migration tools. So in SAP SF methodology, the data migration tools that SAP has provided here, those data migration tools were again required lot of effort from the functional consultant. Okay, so those data migration tools were not automatic tools, they were manual activities that we have to create. With SAP Activate, SAP has provided a tool called as LTMC. So data migration for master and transactional data using LTMC tool. This LTMC will save a lot of time when it comes to the data migration. Okay, so that is another benefit when it comes to the deployment phase. Run phase is same. There is no change in the run phase. Okay, run means business user is starting doing the transactions. But only thing is, in case of SAP SF, because we were using SAP ECC, for run phase you will be using traditional GUI, traditional GUI. Here you are using the run phase using SAP Fiori screens. But that is something which is not the methodology. It is a part of the product itself. Right? So these are all the differences between SF methodology and Activate methodology. So can you summarize the benefits of SAP Activate? Over SAP SF. What are the benefits of SAP Activate over SAP SF methodology? Let's start with the explore phase. What is the difference between business blueprint and explore?
User can see the SAP screens.
Exactly. So instead, I'm writing this full point. Instead of theoretical business blueprint documents or business blueprint discussions, now users would be able to see SAP based business practice processes, which will give more confidence to business users while giving their requirements. Okay, so this is point number 1. Anything else? Let's see here. So yeah, I think that is enough for explore phase. What about the realization phase?
Hello, Vikram.
Yeah.
So you said like they are giving the system, so it will be a test system, right?
Yeah, it would be the sandbox system.
Okay. Not the real production, if I'm not wrong, right?
Not real production at this moment, no, because real production will come as per your business requirements. That would be set up in the realization phase.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. What are the benefits in realization phase now? What is new? Yeah, realize can be called as build, but according to Activate, it is realize. So what are the benefits? Number 1, users can participate. This is important. In case of SAP SF methodology, users cannot participate in the realization phase. There would be regular stand-up meetings. Okay, regular stand-up meetings to get business users feedbacks. Yes. What else? Number 3 is Scrum Master. Right, Scrum Master can monitor weekly or bi-weekly, whatever is the cycle, weekly progress using sprints. Okay, this is the third benefit in the realization phase. Let's see if we missed anything. So Scrum Master, sprints, yeah, that is enough. And the last one, during the during the deploy phase, what are the benefits? Training, end user training materials, pre-delivered or maybe pre-delivered end user training materials can be used. For end user training. What else we can use? Pre-delivered test scripts. Yes, pre-delivered test scripts can be used during UAT. Okay, and pre-delivered LTMC templates can be used to migrate the master and transactional data. So these are some of the pointers which are telling you SAP Activate is much better compared to SAP SF methodology, okay, which will save lot of time. We can save the time which we normally require in SAP methodology to do the rework. So there will be less rework when it comes to SAP Activate. And another important thing is even your end users would be motivated throughout the implementation journey. So they will not feel isolated. They will not feel that our part is only to give the requirement and then after 8 months only we will come into the picture. They will be part of your team throughout the implementation project. So they will be motivated, they will feel participated, they can give you your regular feedbacks, and based on which you will always feel that our project is going in the right direction. And the bi-weekly meetings or weekly meetings again will give you the confidence that whether we are in the right path or there are some deviations required. Okay, so I hope you understood this. What is SAP SF methodology? What is SAP Activate methodology? And why SAP Activate is much better compared to the SAP SF methodology that we were using from years. Any questions? Okay, if not, let me give you 2-3 important links related to SAP Activate methodology.
Mr. Vikram, I have a question here. Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
The Scrum Master, like he'll be a non-SAP guy, isn't it? Or like your project management boards person, and he may be or may not be a trained SAP guy, isn't it?
Exactly. So Scrum Master should be expert in handling those scrums. Otherwise, whether it is SAP, non-SAP, because same. Even if you see the project managers, many times the project managers are not from the SAP background, but that is completely fine. But yes, if he is from SAP or she is from SAP, that will add a lot of value. But again, this is very subjective matter and it has to be taken care by the company's policy.
So, like it will not come into the functional consultant preview as such. It is dependent on the project activities.
Definitely, yes. So he should be good in the project management. He should be good in the Scrum, SAP or non-SAP. That is, I think, definitely it will add the advantage if he's coming from SAP background. But again, not mandatory.
Okay.
Same as project managers. So even project managers, we normally feel that if a project manager is from SAP background, he will understand the SAP terms. But many times we work on the project where the project manager doesn't have any exposure to SAP.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'm just opening some 2-3 links which I'll provide you so that you can start going through them.
Your screen is not visible, sir, for me.
Yeah, I stopped it. Just give me a minute. Okay, let me know if you're able to see my screen now.
No, sir, I am not. Yes, right now. Thank you.
You're able to see now, right? So I provided you these 2 links. Oh, I copied to some other PPT. Okay, no problem. I'll copy it here. Yeah, it is correct here. So you can see these are the two links. Okay, these two important links I opened here. Number one is SAP Activate Roadmap Viewer. Okay, so I will share this PPT with you and you can open the same link which I opened. This SAP Activate Roadmap Viewer consists of all the details what we understood in SAP Activate, but this is very like whatever we written in one single slide. For this, it is a more than 300-400 pages document because it is going to talk about each and every activity in detail. Okay, at this moment you don't need to go into that much detail, but whenever you are working on the project, you may need to understand Activate from the project point of view. Okay, so just before I show you, let me show you one more thing. Even before prepare, there is a discover phase in SAP Activate. Okay, not very important because this is something which is before you start working on the project. So currently what we are doing, currently we are not working on the project, but we are discovering what is SAP S/4HANA. So for customers also who wanted to implement SAP S/4HANA, they are in discovery phase. They are understanding what is new in S/4HANA. Why should we go for S/4HANA? So discover phase means discover the features of SAP S/4HANA. Right. So if you see this link now, this is SAP Activate Methodology. If you click on content, you would be able to see all the phases that we discussed. You can see discover phase, prepare phase, explore, realize, deploy, and then run. Within each and every phase, what are the activities to be carried out? So if I click on prepare, it will tell me in the prepare phase, I need to create a project team. I need to start the project. I need to plan the project. I need to kick off the project. Okay, I need to do the organizational change management. These are all project management related activities which are coming under prepare phase. If you click on explore phase, again, each and every activity again will consist of the task. Within the task, all the descriptions are provided. So if I go to explore, which is more important to us as a functional consultant, so you can see fit to standard workshops, which you need to conduct with the business users. What is this fit to standard workshops? These are those workshops which you are going to have with the business users, where you are going to show them SAP screens. So how to prepare for those workshops? What are the different documentations that you need for those workshops? How will you conduct the workshops? Everything. How will you get the sign off in those documents that you are going to create? All those things are provided here in the explore phase. Okay, all these activities. So for example, if I go to fit to standard workshop validation, you can see how to identify the gaps, how to prioritize the data requirements. So as I told you, at this moment, you don't need to go into this much detail. But yes, whenever you have time, just go through this. It will give you a good idea of how exactly SAP Activate works. Okay, so this is mainly for project manager. Project manager should know each and every activity. But as a consultant, we may only need to know those activities which are relevant to us. Okay, so this is link number 1, which will tell you all the different phases, and within each and every phase, what are the activities to be done. And then the second link that I provided you is related to the best practices for SAP S/4HANA. Okay, SAP has provided the best practices for each country. Most of the countries, you can see country specific. So if you are implementing SAP S/4HANA in UK, you will go with this United Kingdom. If you are implementing SAP S/4HANA in US, you will be able to see the US also. If you are implementing SAP S/4HANA in India, you will be able to see the India also, and along with the version. So 1909 is the latest version. But let's assume you got a project after this training and customer is implementing 1809. So in that case, you can go down and you will be able to find the documentations relevant to 1809 also. Okay, so in my case, let's assume I want to implement SAP S/4HANA 1909 in UK. My client is in UK. So accordingly, if you come down, you would be able to see the best practices for different modules. You can see for finance, HR, MM, sourcing and procurement is nothing but MM. Manufacturing is PP. Okay, if you come down, you will be able to see sales. So this is your SD module. Okay, if you open this again within sales, you will be able to see a lot of other activities. For example, order and contract management. Within order and contract management, how to take care of the customer returns, how to take care of the sales order processing. So let me show you the sales order processing. How to take care of the sales of services, how to create the contracts, how to create the inquiries, sales orders entry with one-time customers. So multiple scenarios, whatever are possible, SAP has already provided the test scripts and kind of end user document for each and everything. Okay, so for example, let me show you sales contract management, which will tell you end to end how the contract can be processed. Okay, so if you want to see this, you have to create your S user ID and password. So normally this is provided only to those guys who are either working on the project, customer project, and customer will provide you the login access and password. Okay, if not, maybe you can try to create S user ID on your own. Okay, just go to Google and try to create S user ID. If you are facing any issues, in the next session we will see. Using that S user ID and password, you can click on login. So if you are logged in, it will give you more details. If you are not logged in, it will just give you the basic details. It should not take this much time. So once you are logged in, it will provide you the download options. It will allow you to download the test script. Okay, so maybe you can try this one. You try to download the test script and see how exactly the process can be carried out. So these test scripts can be used by the business. Okay, so for example, let me close this first. Let me log in. I think now I'm logged in. Let's come down. So you can see this test script. This is a Word document which tells you each and everything from the end user point of view, how to carry out a transaction, and it will also allow the user to enter the feedback. Okay, so it is a Word document, you can see, which is telling you how to create a sales contract. So if I go to this activity, create a sales contract, it will tell you how this activity to be done using Fiori screen. Okay, you can see the procedure. Go to manage sales contract, click on create contract, enter this contract type. So these are all data which is pre-delivered by SAP. Okay, so enter the sold to party, enter the PO number, material, valid from, valid to, everything is provided to you as a test script. What you need to do is just follow the same thing in SAP system and you'll be able to write your pass fail comments here. So this is UAT document, test script. So user will use this and he will write his comments, whether it is working fine, whether it is fitting the business requirements or not. So all those things can be written in the test script itself. So this document itself will serve the purpose of your business blueprint, what you were creating previously. This document itself can be used as a end user training material because it is having all the steps, and this document itself can be used during UAT. Okay, which will ask the user whether it is fitting the business requirements or not. Okay, so these are the two important links which I want you to go through before the next session. If you are facing any issues, just let me know, and accordingly I will tell you how to register if possible for the SAP S user ID access. So these are the two important links.
Vikram, I have a question, Vikram.
Yeah, go ahead.
What sort of questions will be asked for certification from Activate? Do you have any percentage, or is it any question expected? Can you please brief on that?
The SAP Activate, if the question is asked from the functional module point of view, if you are giving the exam on FI or MM or SD, there would not be more than one or two questions coming from SAP Activate. And the questions would be very straightforward. For example, what are the different phases in SAP Activate? Identify, they will give you 4 options and they will ask you which of this is not the SAP Activate phase. For example, business blueprint. So you have to answer it that business blueprint is not part of SAP Activate. Okay, this is one kind of question. Second kind of question, they will ask you, they will give you 4 options and they will arrange the Activate phases. So first phase is discover, then prepare, then explore. So they will give you multiple options and they will tell you which is the correct sequence, right? So explore should not come before prepare, for example. So this kind of questions, very simple questions, can be asked related to SAP Activate in the functional module certification. But there is a separate certification available on SAP Activate also, just for SAP Activate. That is only recommended for the project managers. Okay, so if you want to work on the project management part of SAP projects, then only it is mandatory now for most of the companies that if you want to work as a project manager on SAP projects, you have to complete SAP Activate Project Manager certification. So if you are going for that certification, then there will be a lot of detailed questions and you need to take the complete training on SAP Activate then. In that training, everything related to this SAP Activate roadmap, whatever things are mentioned, even within this, everything is covered. But that is not recommended for the functional consultants. It is only recommended for the project managers.
Thanks, Vikram.
Okay, any other questions before we close today? So just wanted to tell you that I will share these 2 videos today itself. Please make sure that whenever you have time during this week, please go through these videos. Okay, because these are very important topics that we discussed from last 2 days. Although it was too much, I know. But if you just go through these videos 2-3 times, and if you have any doubts, you can ask in the next session. Okay then, so if no questions, let's close and we will meet again on next Saturday.
Same time?
Same time, yeah. Nagesh, next 1 week, we will continue same time because Fiori and some other topics are common. But after that, we will have a separate session for MM, SD and FICO.
Thank you.
Vikram, last one. I sent you an email. I tried to call you in WhatsApp, but the WhatsApp group, I can't send any message. Just can you reply my email, please?
Now you send the message or when you send?
Yeah. Whenever you're free, that's okay. Yeah.
No, your mail just now you sent or you sent earlier?
I sent just now, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it and I'll revert on that.
Thanks. Yeah, I tried to call you, but I couldn't reach you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.